Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
No breaks. No breaks. No fear. No fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along. Another quiet week in British Speedway. Haha, who do you think you're trying to kid? With loads to get through, of course. And joining me to look through it all is the Sheffield and Leicester team captain, Kyle Howarth. Will be with me throughout. And, of course, he was involved in a match on Monday with the Sheffield Tigers, who take a 4-point lead into the second leg on Thursday against the Wolverhampton Wolves, and a chance to face the Belle Vue Aces in British Speedway's Premiership Grand Final. And for the Aces, the man who did the most damage is the man who's been the most talked about over this past weekend.
We lost Max Frick, and to be able to get a replacement like Robert Lambert's, a real coup for the club and obviously British Speedway.
There's more to come from Mark Lemon, and we'll hear more from the man himself, Robert Lambert, on the way. Plus interviews with Nick Morris and Simon Stead, and one or two others besides as well, still to come. And we'll focus on the championship, where the Leicester Lions, captained by our guest Kyle Howarth, will be facing the Poole Pirates. In a plot twist, don't forget, Kyle Howarth used to be a Poole Pirates rider, so we'll talk about what it's like to be a Poole rider at this time of the season, and a look ahead to the upcoming fixtures over the next week. All on the way.
No breaks, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
First, Kyle, some news from Leicester to start things off, and it has a Premiership twist because the Leicester Lions are heading back to the Premiership, the top flight of British Speedway, next season. They'll be rejoining the Premiership, a level they last raced at in 2018 after a successful period of Championship racing, which has seen them move forward both on and off the track, and increased attendances and commercial activity, and also increased competition from other sporting institutions in the East Midlands. Also a consideration here. Of course, they have a couple of Premier League teams now who are playing quite often on Saturdays, Nottingham Forest and Leicester City, and of course there's rugby in the area as well. Plus, local derbies more likely to happen in the Premiership for Leicester, with Sheffield just down the road, Peterborough down road in the opposite direction, Kings Lynn not too far away, Wolves, just a few of the examples there, and certainly going to make things a little bit easier for both the riders and the supporters on the travel front being in the Premiership, Kyle.
It's the travelling in this game, as you know, is very hard, so I think when, like you just said, then with them moving up, Kings Lynn's not too far away. Sheffield's only like an hour and some 10 minutes down the road. Then you've only got Wolves, what's not too far away. So it's not a bad spot for them because they can get fans coming and going. And I guess it's a good thing for the other teams too, because, Leicester fans will maybe travel, and, well, I know for a fact they will travel because they're good fans who travel. And obviously over the past 2 years I've seen that, and definitely this year when we've been going Poole, Plymouth, Glasgow, Edinburgh, there's always Leicester fans there, so no doubt they'll have a good following.
Yeah, absolutely they do, and it will be a Thursday night as well when they get underway next season for the Leicester Lions in 2023, and still Speedway on a Saturday because the Cubs are going to continue and they're having a great season. We'll talk more about that soon as well. And Stuart Dixon remains in charge, and this is quite a big thing because he's been such a figure at Leicester, and obviously I think keen to point out that, yes, Leicester's last foray into the Premiership wasn't particularly successful, but now keen to make the point that this is a different era and forget what's happened in the past.
Yeah, I think since Stuart came along and he's brought some silverware to the club, he's a very passionate manager. He knows obviously what he's doing. He's been around the game for a long time now. He's probably a wily old fox, as you could say. When he came, he brought him a championship in the championship, didn't he? And so obviously he got us to the semis last year, and he's got us to the final this year, so he does know what he's on about. So I think them going up next year with Stuart, is not a bad thing at all. Obviously, you know for a fact Stuart's a fighting man. He's very passionate, so he's going to want to put a team to win. He's definitely not coming just to say, oh, we'll join the Premier League and we'll take part. For sure, that's not his attitude. His attitude is to come and destroy and finish at the top of the league by as many points and go home and away, and he wants to smash everyone 60-30. That's his attitude. So Stuart will be there with the averages and looking and trying to get the best team for him, and he's very passionate, and I think the Leicester Speedway and Leicester fans are very lucky to have him, and I think they're in safe hands with him.
Yeah, I would expect a very different Leicester proposition from the last time they were in the Premiership for sure. And obviously the news has only just come out, but already the rumour mill is running fast. And some of the names that certainly I've heard that are being linked with potentially riding for Leicester are, well, some surprises in there and some big names as well. So watch this space on that one. Let's talk about Sheffield, because you are Sheffield captain. Sheffield in action on Monday night. It took an extra week to get round to this fixture, of course, but Sheffield took advantage of their playoff semi-final with Wolves, pulling off a 47-43 away win from the first leg at Monmore Green. Tigers putting in an impressive, solid display led by British champion Adam Ellis, who got 11+1 on the night. But the team all making key contributions. But it was also a night of mechanical issues and falls, particularly for Wolves. But they did gain a 5-1 right at the end. In a moment, we'll hear from Nick Morris, who is top scorer for the Wolves. We'll also hear from Simon Stead in a moment. But Kyle, from your point of view as captain, great to get a win from Monmore, because not many teams usually manage that through the course of a season, although Wolves' record in playoff matches isn't the greatest at this moment in time. But a 4-point lead, not really one that you'll be looking to defend, particularly at Ollerton. It's still pretty close, isn't it?
No, look, it's the playoffs and anything can happen, and I've been in playoffs before, and I've been around them, and I've seen some strange things happen. So, look, we went there, and like I said at the start, the aim of the game was not there to go and keep it close. The aim was to go there and get a win and just take as many points off them, and try and go home with the biggest lead as we can. So we did that, and we come away with a 4-point win. And like you just said, Monmore's a very hard place to go in and get a win in the season, never mind in the playoffs. So they're such dialed-in riders. It's a technical track where you can come in too fast and you can drift past the corners. Sometimes you have to come in slower to come out faster. So when they've been dialed in all year coming to the playoffs, you needed to be on it. So to come away with a 4-point lead, we was very happy with. So, but no, the attitude at Sheffield is it's 0-0 on Thursday, and there's no advantage, and we go again, and there's no we've won it, or there's a lot of attitude as it's going to be easy. It's not. It's a playoffs. We know Wolverhampton, they've got some good riders who do go good round Sheffield, and we need to be on it from the get-go. So look, we go there, it's 0-0, and we start on a fresh page, and we do what we do again on Monday, and we go for the get a biggest win as possible. And
it was a meeting that was littered with thrills and spills and mechanical issues, and also that was something that affected you yourself, wasn't it? It was, as you say, in Speedway, you just never know, and these things can happen, but they punish you a bit more in the playoffs, don't they?
Yeah, like for me, the bike I've been riding, one of my favourite engines. I've been riding that chassis everywhere, and the ignition, the electrics packed up on it, and it had no spark, and we had to change, I think, the stator, and we didn't have one, and basically it was at the engine, and we couldn't change it, and so basically, long story short, we had to jump on a spare bike. What wasn't bad at all. It's just obviously you always have your favourable bike, but like I said, it could have gone in a league meeting or anything. But coming to the playoffs, you don't want that, do you? But you can't help electricals or whatnot going. That's just part of the game. That's motorsports for you, and anything can happen. But look, they had a bit of bad luck. We had a bit of bad luck, so we regroup again, and been washing the bikes and going over the bikes today, and obviously going over things and getting them ready for Thursday. But like I said, it's going to be tough on Thursday, but it'll be, like I said, 0-0, and we go from there.
Well, let's hear from one of your opposite numbers then, Nick Morris of Wolves. He was top scorer for Wolves at Monmore on Monday night. He scored 14 points, and he's been reflecting on that defeat to Sheffield with Ryan Guest.
Well, Nick Morris, not ideal to be heading into the second leg at Sheffield with a 4-point deficit, but nevertheless 5-1 in Heat 15 there, giving you some hope perhaps.
Yeah, never ideal to go to the second leg off a defeat, but we're not throwing the towel in yet. We've gone to Sheffield this season and won already, so 4 points is 4 points, and obviously we just got to go there and win.
Yeah, here tonight, a couple of the boys having off nights, really, wasn't there?
Yeah, had a bit of bad luck. Luke threw a chain, and it was one of them for a couple of guys. It's easy done. It happens to us all, but that's how it goes. Sheffield are always good here, and it was a tight meeting all the way through. It has been the same all season, really. Normally we don't have as much bad luck or as throw away as many points, but it is what it is. 4 points. We'll keep going. Yeah.
For yourself individually, probably your best performance around here for a long time, dropping just 1 point from 5 rides.
Yeah, one of them. I've been getting going all right around here this season, so decent meeting. Can't complain with 14. Making good starts, getting some fresh air, and staying out of the dirt. So all good. But it's a team sport, and we're just looking at the next one now.
Yeah, and as you've said, nothing to lose, all the pressure and expectation now with Sheffield going into their home leg with a lead. So pressure off for the boys on Thursday?
Yeah, there is, I suppose. But we still got the pressure. We don't want to bow out of this playoff. So all the boys still know that it's doable, and we'll have another talk before the meeting and try and get everyone amped up again, and the fight continues.
Well, it's Nick Morris, opposite number for Kyle Howarth on Monday night, but a teammate of Kyle's with the Leicester Lions, and we'll speak more about the Leicester Lions in the next part of this podcast, because they're already through to the grand final in their league, of course. For the Sheffield Tigers, they've still got a job to do to join Belle Vue in the grand final of the Premiership playoffs. Let's hear from the Sheffield team manager, Simon Stead, also with Ryan Guest.
Sheffield Triplan Tigers team boss Simon Stead taking a 4-point lead into the home leg of the semi-finals against Wolverhampton. Your thoughts on tonight's first leg here at Monmore Green?
Well, I'd have taken that at the start. So, really solid team display. Everybody did their bit. In a good place right now. That was really strong team display and a win on the board. But we start from scratch at Sheffield on Thursday, so we'll go again.
Yeah, certainly fiercely contested. A couple of tight first corners, a couple of tight first opening laps, and a real crucial spell for the Tigers in the middle part of that meeting with a run of 5 straight heat advantages as well.
Yeah, exactly. But we just went about our business, concentrated on every single heat, got the most out of every single heat that we could. And like I said, we're not going to take anything for granted looking into the second leg at Sheffield on Thursday, because they've been very good at Sheffield this year. So we know it's going to be a tough task for us, but we're in a good place. So we'll just try and push on from here.
Like I say, in a good place. Could have been even more though. 8 points up going into Heat 15, and Wolves just pulling back a late 5-1 there.
Yeah, I didn't really want that to overshadow what had been a really good meeting for us, because, a late 5-1, yeah, it did bring it back a little bit, but like I said, I would have taken 47-43 at the start of the meeting, so I didn't want that to overshadow it, because the boys have all put in a really good performance, and I'm really proud of them.
Yeah, and like you say, with the way the Tigers have been adapting to the Overton circuit, the more recent those meetings have come and the more regular they've become, certainly started to turn the screw at Overton.
Yeah, we have. We've looked really dominant there, haven't we? So if we can carry on where we left off at Overton, I'll be really happy, because we've looked really strong there. So, but like I said, we know it's going to be a tough task, so we'll go about our business and just try and be as strong as we can be.
Congratulations, thank you.
There's the Sheffield team manager Simon Stead talking with Ryan Guest after Sheffield's narrow victory over Wolverhampton Wolves at Monmore, but it is a lead, 4 points head start when they meet again on Thursday at Overton, and whoever wins overall will be joining the Belle Vue Aces in the grand final of the Premiership playoffs, because the Aces secured their passage through. I'm going to talk more about that now, but looking at the final, whoever wins now knows who the opposition is, and obviously it all comes down to this, doesn't it? It's not all about winning the league. Sheffield, you did win the league in the regular season, so you finished top of the table, but it all comes down to these one-off matches now, and this is where the action really is at.
Yeah, look, obviously it can be funny old like it's a funny old season. You can finish top or second or third, fourth. It's great for the club and great for the fans, great for the sponsors to finish first, obviously. But as you get to the playoffs, you all start again. For everyone, it's a level playing field, and when you get into the finals, it's a level playing field. Look, they've got some great riders, and we've got some great riders too. So we've got Grand Prix riders, they've got Grand Prix riders. So there's experience in the team, and I think it'll be a special. If we do get into the final, it can be a special final. With being a local derby, War of the Roses, 25 miles apart, I think it'll be very great. I think both clubs will get fans following, and I thought both stadiums will be packed. But like I said, that's an if. We've got to get there, but I think it'll be if it does, I think it'll be a great final. Obviously, they're a good team. They've got riders who go very well at our place, but obviously then we've got riders who go well at their place. So look, it's 50-50, but we've got another job to focus on first, and that's Thursday against Wolverhampton. And like I said before, we just have to deal with that first.
Obviously, one of the big talking points in Speedway, certainly since last Friday, has been Robert Lambert, who tweeted a picture of his Belle Vue race suit on a mannequin. And at that point, that was as far as it was going to be going. Then over the course of the weekend, things were appealed, and that changed. And of course, we saw him riding on Monday night. Everybody's had their say on it, the rights and the wrongs, but certainly a talking point within Speedway. And I know that obviously the views probably among the Sheffield management are probably different to those over the other side of the hill.
Yeah, look, I don't really get too involved in the politics side of it. Obviously, I just kind of like to rock up, roll and do my job and go home. I try to stay off social media and don't get involved in stuff like that because it's just not my thing. But obviously to have Robert back in British Speedway is great. Obviously he's British, and I think it's great to have him back. He's a Grand Prix rider who's had a very good year. And I think it's just good in general. Obviously it's made some talking about Speedway, and obviously them getting into the final, it boosts them. But look, this is Speedway, and like I said, it's good for them, innit? For sure. Like obviously losing Max was a big blow, but obviously they've come and they've got Rob Lambert, so I don't think they can moan, can they?
No, but I think other clubs are probably going to moan, and some fans will, of course. And I think the rules as a whole will probably get reviewed in the closed season. But anyway, look, for now, Robert Lambert has joined the Belle Vue Aces, and what an impact he made on his debut, finishing with a 15-point maximum. And Mate Zagar only dropped 1 point on his way to 12+2 as well. So it was a real strong start for the Belle Vue Aces. Let's hear from Robert Lambert now, speaking to Steve Brandon on Eurosport.
A bit of a surprise for me. Coming in optimistic, trying to score a few points to fill Max's boots, and ended up with a Max. So it's great, and obviously great that I can help the team out and get into the final, and now obviously got the chance of winning the league. So we've once we get packed up from here, we'll forget about today and be focused and ready for the league match on the 10th and 13th.
Just for you this weekend, you've had the last round of the World Championship, which you finished 5th in, which is a fantastic achievement. Am I going to Belle Vue? Am I not going to Belle Vue? Quite hard when that's sort of in the back of your mind with everything going on. Yeah,
I got the call on Tuesday. I'm not in, and obviously booked the flights and spent a lot of money on bikes and etc. And suit and stuff, to look good for the team and the TV and everything, and my British sponsors as well. Sunday, chilling out after a Grand Prix, happy with, P5 and that over the season, and then midday get a call and I'm in. So then sorting out logistics and flights once again, because the flight was within 2 hours, and that took 2 hours to get to the airport, so I would have missed it. But we up early, 3 o'clock this morning, get to the airport, brought some bits and pieces over, and here we are now, and we're in the final, and that's obviously a goal for the team, and obviously I'm happy as well with today.
And just a personal note for you, you've come in tonight and shown people the developed, the improved Robert Lambert and all the stuff you're achieving in Europe.
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously steps forwards over the last couple of years of, sort of put myself on the world stage and been very consistent this season. I've probably had, a handful of bad performances throughout the year out of kind of 50 meetings or so. So I think that's not bad. And looking for consistency, I found that in a lesser schedule as well. And I know obviously the British fans are upset about that and me not deciding to race over here. But also we need to look at the bigger picture and also my career and how it looked from the outside of British riders. We've got 3 British riders in the Grand Prix at the moment, and probably also for next year, I'm sure, target wildcard. So yeah, that's great for British Speedway, and I think we should be looking at them kind of things and not the negative stuff. But that's definitely on the drawing board. Obviously with British Speedway, and always will be. I've never turned my back on it. It's just sometimes we need to think of the future and think forwards. But on a whole tonight, going back to tonight, I'm happy with performance and that I can play a part in Belle Vue getting into the final.
Yeah, well, Belle Vue are through to the grand final. Let's hear from Mark Lemon speaking with Lee Wild after that impressive victory over the Ipswich Witches.
Mark, consummate performance from your boys tonight. You must be really pleased with how it went.
Yeah, true. All season they've been good at home, and tonight was no different. Even with a 14-point sort of buffer coming in from the away leg at Ipswich, we took nothing for granted. Respected our opposition, and the boys rode their hearts out, and epic performance.
Some good performances throughout the team. Some boys riding not quite fit. Some new guys getting a fantastic debut. All positive for the final.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we lost Max Frick, and to be able to get a replacement like Robert Lambert's, a real coup for the club, and obviously British Speedway. Robert, came 5th in the world on the weekend, and he's right up there. So an adequate replacement for Max, because we know how good Max is around the National Speedway Stadium. There's not too many people you could say could match him around here, but it's helped. Our bid for the to win a league title, for me it was kind of like deja vu. I was like, oh no, here we go again. This happened last year. We were on pretty good form, and we lost Brady Kurtz through to injury, and we went into the playoffs, and I think that was the difference between winning and losing. So left no stone unturned this time, and pulled out all the stops to bring in Robert, which he's done a fantastic job tonight. 2
tough possible opponents in the final. It's not going to be easy, is it?
No, I don't think winning anything is ever easy, or else everyone would be doing it. But no, we look forward to whether it's Wolves or it's Sheffield. Obviously it looks like Sheffield had a pretty handsome sort of night down at Monmore. So you would kind of think that maybe they're the team that's going to progress, but you would never underestimate Wolverhampton either, because they're a pretty quality team. But regardless whoever it is, it's going to be a pretty competitive affair.
All right, thank you very much.
Cheers.
So Mark Lemon, all smiles. What about the other side of the pits? Not quite so cheerful with Richie Hawkins, who sees the Ipswich Witches complete their season, ending at the hands of the Belle Vue Aces. Here is Richie Hawkins with Lee Wild.
Richie Hawkins, a tough night for the Ipswich. It's not the way you wanted the season to end, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I did think we fought tonight, and obviously, Belle Vue have been better than us over 2 legs. I think obviously Thursday was the disaster, and made tonight, coming in tonight, very very difficult for us. But overall, I can't criticise the boys for tonight. And yeah, good luck to Belle Vue in the final.
How difficult was it when Belle Vue were able to bring in someone like Robert Lambert? Did that make the task even tougher?
Well, it makes them stronger than our, but it doesn't make them any stronger than when Max is riding, because you've got 2 top. You're replacing like for like. You're replacing a world class rider for another one. So I don't think Belle Vue are any stronger than they were. What would it be, a week ago before Max got injured? So in that fact, it's no different than what it would have been if Max hadn't got injured.
Still some great racing. Your boys were mixing it there. Doyle, good as ever. Batch had some great rides. Summers and Tungate also.
Yeah. I think obviously Aaron's done his job. I think, just overall as a 1-7, we're not quick enough round this track, and I think that's been apparent in the last 2 visits here, that the Belle Vue boys are super quick round here, and we're not up to speed on these big circuits. So definitely something for the boys to work on for next season.
Well, Richie, commiserations. Come back stronger next year. Cheers, mate.
So it all ends here for the Ipswich Witches. Through to the grand final, though, are the Belle Vue Aces, who will be joining them. The Sheffield Tigers or the Wolverhampton Wolves. There's 4 points in it at the halfway stage, which is not much at all. And it's all going to be raced for on Thursday night at Ollerton Stadium. Sheffield versus Wolves. 7:30 the start time. Get yourself down to S6, of course, if you can. If not, it's on Eurosport 2. Kyle Howarth might be heading to a Premiership grand final then. He's our guest this week on No Breaks, No Fear. He's definitely heading to a grand final in the Championship, where his Leicester Lions side will be facing the Poole Pirates in a grand final in a couple of weeks' time. We'll talk all about life in the Championship and looking ahead to that grand final and much more in the next part of No Breaks, No Fear.
Today, we discuss Miro. Today, I want to talk about the hellscape that is technical diagramming, right? Everybody's nodding their heads right now, And there is a potential solution that I want to share. There was one name that several people brought up. I did some digging, and it's kind of nuts how much this program Miro has for developers. I have to share this. It could potentially be a game changer for you. So my favorite part about Miro is that half the work is already done. Like right now, typically we spend hours starting diagrams from scratch, gathering information. You get buy-in from every team. That's a lot of work to do. But Miro has a full set of integrations with the tools you're probably already using. And they also offer open APIs and SDKs for custom solutions for all those niche diagramming use cases we have to do, right? So the end result is the same, but it doesn't take forever. It's a massive, massive time saver. I'm transforming basic flowcharts and network architectures, and it all lives in one place. So are you using Miro? Have you used it? I want to hear. That's MIRO.com.
No Breaks, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome back. I'm Ian Brannan. My special guest this week is captain of both the Sheffield Tigers and the Leicester Lions. Kyle Howarth is with us. And Kyle is a rider who's won league championships. He's won knockout cups. He knows what it takes to get your hands on that silverware. And he's already through to at least one grand final. In fact, two, actually, because Leicester Lions are also through to the final of the Jubilee League, which is still yet to be resolved as well. But in the Championship, his Leicester Lions were the first side through to the grand final of the Championship playoffs, and they will be facing the Poole Pirates for the ultimate silverware. And so very much similar to with Sheffield, you've put the hard work in through the course of the season, and now you've got yourself through to this grand final with Leicester, and silverware only 30 heats away, potentially.
Yeah, I think it's been a great with a success with Leicester, obviously finishing top with them and just getting to the playoffs was his achievement, and then getting through playoffs against Edinburgh, what was a tricky team, was going to be tough because we always knew what they can do there. There's some 60-30 people up there, can't they? So very easily they had some boys who were dialed in, so we knew that was going to be tough. We got through that task, and then obviously getting to the final against Poole. Obviously, they've got 3 strong heat leaders. I think we've got strong heat leaders. They've won at our place this year. We've won at their place this year. So, look, it's going to be an exciting final for sure. Obviously, they've been dialed in lately at their place, and we've been dialed in at our place. They've had some big home wins. We've had some big home wins. Obviously, the finals always change things. Sometimes it can bring the better out in someone. Some riders can handle the pressure and deal with it, and then there's obviously some who can't. But look, Poole have been a dominant club, haven't they, over the years, and from the top league to coming back into the Championship last year and winning. So they're coming out to get another title, aren't they? But look, the Leicester boys are revved up and fired ready to go. Like, we're ready for it. Obviously, there's a couple of weeks yet. But look, it's going to be exciting times, and obviously having it on a Friday and a Saturday in 2 days, it's going to be definitely a really fun meeting, and I think the atmosphere is going to be really great.
The paths of the two sides a little bit similar in a way. You both dispatched a Scottish side and both beat them fairly heavily home and away as well. For Poole, of course, they had to do that most recently against Glasgow at the weekend. It was a 41-point aggregate victory, the majority of that damage being done at Wimborne Road. And now they'll be obviously heading to face Leicester. You know full well what it's like to go at Wimborne Road and have 60 shipped past you, because it happened, of course, in the Cup not so long ago. You had quite a big break break there. You'll be looking to put that right, I imagine, first thing, because that's not a score that you usually associate with a Leicester side.
No, obviously we've been quite a dominant side all year, haven't we? So to go there and that happen was a bit of a kick in the nuts, I would say, and got a stern word off Stuart, and we regrouped in the semis against Edinburgh. But look, Speedway's a funny old game, as you know. Some nights can just be tough, and then some nights, like that night for them, they just out-trapped us from heat 1 to heat 15. They out-trapped us, out-muscled us, and they did it fair and square, and there was no excuses. But look, we've been there in the summer, and we've beat them, so anything can happen. They're a tough side, obviously, with Stevie, Danny and Richie, a solid top three, all renowned to be very good, consistent gators. So we need to have our gating gloves on. But then you've got myself, Richie and Nick, who have been doing a great job for Leicester all season. So look, top three versus top three, and our rest of the sides will do their job. So look, it's like I said before, it's going to be an exciting final.
Well, it was the Poole Pirates who sailed into the Championship Grand Final, winning 50-39 at Glasgow to wrap up a massive 41-point aggregate victory. The Pirates now defending their league title against a Leicester side as the two most recent champions go head-to-head for the major silverware. Well, let's hear from Steve Worrell right now, who was speaking after that win, and their place in the grand final was confirmed to Hayley Bromley and Greg Blair on BSN.
It will be the Poole Pirates versus the Leicester Lions in the grand final of the championship. Your brother Richie lines up for the Lions, of course. Twin versus twin, you looking forward to that?
Yeah, no, not just Richie. You know, they're two good teams. With Poole, you know, well, Glasgow, they've rode brilliant all year as well. But you know, when you look at form, it's the two best teams all season. So it'll be a good showdown.
Certainly will, won't it, Craig?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Poole are so strong at home, but Leicester are also so strong at home. So it's going to be one of them. Like, what do you see going into it yourself?
I see Poole winning.
Yeah.
I don't like predicting things and being overconfident, but you know, I'm confident in what our team's capable of. You know, we went to Leicester last time, we beat them. You know, we beat them earlier on in the year as well. So it's a track that us as a seven, as a unit, we all like. So, and like vice versa, they like our place. So, like I said, it'll be a very good showdown of who becomes champion.
No, it's probably going to be the best meeting of the two best meetings of the season in British Speedway anyway, definitely, because you know you are both teams strong at home, and you've got you are both wanting it. That's the thing, and plus you've got your brother to have a race with as well.
Yeah. I know, fingers crossed. You know, the weather's kind to us this last part of the season, and you know we get two really good race tracks, and fair meetings, and may the best team win.
Well, the two teams are fairly similar, aren't they, Kyle Howarth? Both teams have a strong spine of heat leaders, but also overall two teams of great gators, and I think that's the thing. You know, gating is going to be a big part of the Championship Grand Final. Leicester, undoubtedly, you know, your gating was electric against Edinburgh, and really had the meeting sewn up from the first bend in both legs down to the gating, and similar to Poole, really. Poole just outgated Glasgow more often than not, and again, it just made it a lot easier for them.
Yeah, for sure. I think we was all gating against Edinburgh from their place and our place. And then, like, you looked at Poole the other night, you watched at Poole against Glasgow, they was dominant at gating. And then, obviously, Glasgow the other night, you've seen the top three. Danny won, then Stevie, and then Richie. So, look, both teams have got solid gators in. So, I think you're going to have your gating gloves on. And for sure, it's them nights where you need to step up. And there's no doubt we can step up and do the job. And
also it's those second strings as well, which I think are the prime reason why the sides have found themselves where they are, because at Poole they've got the Cook brothers. You know, Zach and Ben have been contributing big points, certainly at Wimborne Road and on the road as well. And for yourselves, you've got the Thompson twins, who are certainly really dangerous at home as well. And Dan Thompson, I think, certainly kicking on into the main body of the team, isn't he? So that's been a great backup beyond the heat leaders, and those extra points are really what count.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's not just about your top three. Obviously, you've got to win with your other lads. You win with a 1-7. So, look, the Cook brothers have been going well. They've been firing. They've got Zach at reserve, and obviously Ben's is he at number 2, I think, or is it number
2? Yeah.
So he's been firing and he's been gating. Look, they're both solid gators who've been riding well. So in that department, but then you've got, like you just said, you've got the Thompson twins who've been brought up riding Leicester since the age of when they first started. They know all the lines around there. They like it with a bit of dirt on. So Stuart's been running it with a bit of dirt on, and they know the passing lines, and they're very dominant at home, aren't they? So look, I think obviously your top 3 need to deliver, and then your rest of your boys, you also need your reserves to come to the party, don't you? And we had Max Clegg, who's been going well for us. He's not a bad gator. He's a trapper, and he rides Leicester really well. You've got Connor Mountain, who's a good gator who rides Leicester really well. He's had some good meetings at Poole this year. So I think it's match for match, but obviously on the day you need your 1-7 to all chip in, don't you, for both home and away legs. So it's a big team performance.
And just a word about the management, because we've got, obviously the 2 top managers in the league facing each other as it stands. And first of all, we talked about Stuart Dixon, but my impression of him this season, I mean, does not miss a trick, does he? And really sharp. And I guess when the chips are down, or you're having a meeting that's maybe a little bit complicated, it must be a great guy to have on your side who knows all the hints and tips and tricks to battle through those situations.
He's passionate. He knows he's passionate. Like I said, he's been in this game for a while now, and he's not new to the game. He knows all the tricks in the game, and when away teams are trying to play tricks, he's not daft. He knows with rules and stuff like that, and he's won trophies and he's lost trophies in the final before. So look, he's got us to the final, and the reason why is because he's built the team. When he's had to make changes, he's made the changes for the benefit of the team to get us to the playoffs, to get us to the final. But look, he's very passionate about his job, Stuart, and he will tell you that himself. You can see the way when he watches Speedway, he's not just a manager who's there who just fills the programming and goes, "Oh, we've got three happy days." No, he's not happy with that. He wants 4-2s, he wants 5-1s. He wants the boys trapping, he wants them gating, he wants to see everyone trying, he wants to see passion, because he puts so much passion in, he wants it back, and he will tell you that. His team talks before the start of the meeting, mid-meeting, towards the end of the meeting, they're all passionate. He shows them and he tells you how he's feeling, and if we're not delivering, he will pull us all together and he'll tell us why he thinks what we need to change. If we're not gating, and when we are doing well, he will still pull us together and go, "Look, boys, we can do better. We need to do this, and he's very passionate. So look, Stu's going to be all revved up for the finals for sure. He wants this just like us, and he deserves it just like us. It's not just a 7 riders. He's our 8th man too, So we all need to chip in and do our thing.
And a bit of a slight twist is that you have ridden for Poole in the past, so you've got experience of winning silverware with Midlow as well. Poole always seem to pull it out of the bag, don't they? When we get to this stage of the season, they can bumble on in 6th or 7th, but when it comes to the crunch, there they are, and all guns blazing when it comes to things like this, the playoffs and cup finals, and obviously Midlow a key part of that. How does he do it?
Oh, he's like Stu. Like he's been around the game. He's been a rider himself. He knows what it's like to be in position in semis and finals, and when to step it up. And he's probably a bit more calmer than Stu. He's probably the opposite way, but obviously very passionate. You see him in the pits. He doesn't mind a shout. He doesn't mind to get revved up, get the boys revved up. But they seem to pull it out the bag, don't they? Like towards the end of the season, he knows how to get the boys going. He's worked with some of the best in the world, hasn't he, Midlow? And he's won the Premiership quite a few times. So, he knows how to win trophies. He's not stupid. But he obviously knows what he's doing, because he wouldn't have them titles behind his belt, would he? So,
no, absolutely.
But you've got 2 managers who know what they're doing, who are getting ready to go head-to-head, and who've been in the game a long while now. So, look, may the best team win.
And that Poole team you were in, and that was sort of in the start of your career relatively, wasn't it, the first few years? But that was the same era that a lot of people, when they look back on the classic Poole teams of modern times, you know, the Turbo Twins era with Darcy Ward and Chris Holder and so on, and you know, you were riding at reserve in that team, I think, then, weren't you?
I think I was 17. I think it was that, do you know, the double up system where you could have four riders at reserve, was it? I think you could have...
Yeah. They're all big teams, weren't they?
Yeah, you had... So at the time, I think you had Casper Zak, you had Darcy Ward, Chris Holder. Yeah, there was a lot of good lads. So I was 17 at the time and just coming up, and I'd only been riding for a year. I'd started Speedway at 15 and then started doing a bit of Edinburgh at 16, and then Matt gave us a phone call and said, come down. I did press day, and he was like, right, you're in at 17. I was like, God, you know, I was young. I didn't really know what I was doing. I'd not come from a speedway background. It was motocross. So if I'm honest with you, at the time, I knew who like Chris and Darcy were, but I didn't know them as in like, oh, that's them. Do you know, I was just like, oh, it's Chris Darcy, and you know. But look at to be in some teams like that and learn over the years has been great, and just to learn bits and bobs and be at Poole them years, it was a great success. Obviously, I think I did two seasons there, and then I went to Swindon. But yeah, it was great, good fun.
Kyle Howarth, our guest this week on No Brakes, No Fear, the official British Speedway podcast. No action for the Leicester Lions this week. However, in the Championship, we still have the Championship Knockout Cup to be sorted out, and that is going to get underway on Friday when Redcar take on the Poole Pirates, because they're still on for a treble, believe it or not, this season. And that's at 7:30 at the Echo Arena on Teesside, Redcar versus Poole. And the return leg will be on Wednesday, October 12th, when Poole host the Redcar Bears in the second leg of the Championship Knockout Cup final. So, next on No Brakes, No Fear, as we were talking to Kyle there, and mentioning Swindon, let's talk about Swindon, because that news has come out over the last week that Swindon will not be returning to the tapes, sadly, and sort of missed the boat for last week's podcast. So we'll talk to Kyle about that, because Kyle Howarth, a former Swindon rider, and one or two other things to cover off before we finish here on No Brakes, No Fear, the official British Speedway podcast.
No Brakes, No Fear, the official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome back. I'm Ian Brannan. Our special guest this week is Kyle Howarth, currently captain of the Sheffield Tigers and the Leicester Lions. But some of the clubs you've ridden for in the past are now no longer with us, Kyle. And I'm not saying that you are the link between these clubs, but just looking down the list, Somerset, Workington, Coventry, now, of course, Swindon Robins, all great sides of British Speedway, all sides that have won silverware, sides that have hosted, you know, big meetings at their stadiums and so on. And of course, you've been part of their history as well. And we're hearing now about the Swindon situation, and we were hoping Swindon would be coming back in 2023. Indeed, there were plans for Swindon to rejoin the Premiership, and that was dearly the hope. And it was so close to happening, but now they've had the rug pulled from beneath them, and that's not going to be a possibility now, unfortunately, and spells an end to Speedway at the Abbey Stadium.
Nah, it's gutting. Just for Speedway in general, like, there's such a club who, over the years, you would say you would give Poole a run for the money in the top league, was always there. You always had the derbies with Poole. They always created good atmosphere with Neil Middleditch, and you had Roscoe, who was very passionate, who never shied away from saying anything, did he? So, look, I think it's a shame Swindon's gone. They've won some big trophies over the years, and it was such a great racetrack too. It had a great out the lines. You could ride the place, you could dive bomb outside. It created so much great racing, and it was a good club. And it's a shame, really. Obviously, you don't want these clubs going. So, as myself, I live in Marlborough now, about 20 minutes from Swindon, so obviously it's a shame it's gone because it would have been my local club, and before when it was running, I used to go watch on a Thursday if I wasn't riding. So yeah, it's a shame it's gone, but hopefully in the future something can happen with Swindon Speedway. Hopefully find a new venue soon as possible, because we don't want Speedway tracks going, and we want them coming back. Like to see Workington coming back with what Steve Lawson's done there looks an unbelievable job. And you want your Eastbournes, you want your Workingtons, you want your Swindons back, you want your Coventries back, because you want Speedway booming in England, don't you?
Yeah, we absolutely do, and that involves a very small amount of people who are trying their best, to make a change in Speedway and to bring clubs back. And we've seen that be successful with the likes of Oxford, for example. Doesn't always work out like Swindon, unfortunately. Can we mention at this point the subject of online trolls and online abuse? It is something that Lee Kilby and Alan Rossiter and other people involved with Swindon have received online abuse from people who really don't know the first thing about what's gone on to try and bring Swindon back to the tapes. Working week in, week out, day in, day out to try and make it happen, having meetings and so on. And it happens all the time, and it happens too much. And people just need to stop doing it, because it's driving people away from the sport. And when people go on about, the death of Speedway and so on, it will be from people driving people out. People are willing to put their own money and hard-earned and time. A lot of people are doing this voluntarily to try and make these things happen. For you, Kyle, as a rider, I guess that you must get your fair few trolls who maybe know better and know how to ride a bike better than you. And how do you deal with it as a rider? Because riders, obviously, you're right in the forefront of the firing line there.
A lot of the people who are on social media are the guys who went back in the 1970s or whatnot, who like haven't been to Speedway in 20, 30 years or whatever, and they'll go on there and they think they know how to run the sport. They'll tell you how to ride the bike, and half of them don't even go and pay the money, you know what I mean, to go watch, but they'll still happily go slag you off and slag Speedway off on social media. And there's a lot of great people in Speedway trying to do great things for British Speedway. You see the BSN streaming system what's come out, like for likes of my dad who supports me, who can't go everywhere, obviously, who can watch me now, go and Edinburgh, go and watch me at Leicester and stuff like that. And for other families who can go watch their lads ride, mums and dads and supporters who can't get away, the BSN is a very positive thing about British Speedway. And like I said, there's a lot of people in the back doors at Speedway trying to do great things, trying to look at Steve Lawson, what he's done at Workington. He's trying to bring a club back. You've got people who were trying hard at Swindon, Lee Kilby and Rossiter, who was trying to bring Swindon back. So, and then you get the fans who, like I said, who go on there and write rubbish. And like you just said, you've got to be if you've just got to thick skin and ignore it, because there's a lot of social media, what goes on social media, and there's a lot of people out there who don't have a clue what they're saying. And half of the time, like myself, I don't really use social media a lot. I might use Twitter, Facebook, and go on. I keep in touch with friends from Australia and family here and that, but apart from that, I don't really read too much into Speedway, because half of them don't have a clue what goes on in the background and what it takes to run a Speedway club, to be a Speedway rider, or people, as you know, in Speedway, what it takes to be involved and what goes into Speedway. Some people just think you rock up with clean, shiny bikes and they rock up out the van and happy days. Well, let me tell you something, that's how it don't work. You don't see the days in the workshop and the endless travelling on the motorway. 4 hours to Glasgow, 4 hours back, get up at 6 a.m, start washing the bike to go Leicester on a Saturday, and you have to perform. If you don't perform, your job's on the line. And sometimes you have to race 3, 4, 5 times a week, and you have to perform, don't you? And when you don't perform, people are jumping on your back. And sometimes over the years, I've learned you have to ignore it and get on with life. You'll be at Speedway, and some people ask you some of the craziest questions, and I'm like, honestly, like, have you really just asked me that? And like, you just, why are you at the back giving up? And you're like, do you really think I come to Speedway to give up at the back? do you really think I come fourth? Because I'm paid per point. The more points you score, the more money you make. So yeah, I come here and I come to race, and if I'm at the back, I'm trying.
Yeah, that's right. Somebody's got to finish last in every race, and sometimes, even the best rider. And it has happened, I think, twice this season to Bartosz Szmarszlik. He has finished fourth on the occasional race.
Yeah, it's just how Speedway is, mate. Like, sometimes you go through it, you're gating and you're going well, and sometimes you have hard patches in your career, and no matter what you do, you just can't help it. But something doesn't work right, and then sometimes you miss a gate and you run a last, and that's just how it is. Look at the world's best, like Cristiano Ronaldo, Leo Messi, and Lewis Hamilton. They all have bad days at the office, don't they?
Exactly right. Anyway, back onto topic. We'll just talk about the National Development League briefly, because tying in with BSN, BSN are showing two NDL fixtures. The first one will be on Wednesday night. Oxford Chargers versus the Leicester Cubs as they head into the National Development League semi-finals. For the Leicester Cubs, led by Dan Thompson, who's number one, and his brother Joe in that lineup as well, amongst others. And it's been a really strong season for the Leicester Cubs on the NDL front. And you've had a few double headers as well, haven't you, at Leicester on the Saturday nights?
We've stopped and watched them, and it's created some great racing. Like, sometimes when Stuart's done the big track grade in between, they've had the better track. I think it's great, obviously, Speedway, to see these kids coming up and the development league being strong, and you see the riders like the Thompson twins doing that, and then eventually gradually coming out of that. You've got Jordan Jenkins, aren't you, at Oxford, who's having a very good, successful season with Redcar. So look, it's going to be a great final for them guys, and look, there's some good riders in there what are up and coming. So definitely be great to tune in and have a watch.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that, and then some more National Development League action at Berwick versus Mildenhall at Sheffield Park. Again, live on BSN on Saturday night. So BSN testing the National Development League waters. People have been asking for it through the course of the season, and of course it's all been about the Championship really and the Premiership pairs. But whilst we've got a bit of a gap in proceedings, going to give the NDL a try. So if people subscribe to it, then hey, might do it more. But a lot of people say that independently that the racing, the quality of the racing, the actual races have been really close, and some sort of exciting stuff in the National Development League this season.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you've got kids who are up and coming, and kids who are fearless, who are going for it, and they want to earn the place. You've got kids who want to show the Championship managers they want a job. So there's some fearless kids out there who are going for it, and it does make great racing, and fair play to him. I think it's great to see some clubs like Oxford. You've got Leicester. You've got Mildenhall, and you've got Berwick. So all these kids are going to all these other tracks and they're learning them. They're not just in one or two places. They're all over England, and I think it's great that one day you can be at Leicester and the next day you can be at Berwick. What's a totally different track. Then one day you can be at Edinburgh, and then you can be at, like I said, Oxford. So all different types of tracks, and so kids are learning all these tight tracks to big tracks to wide tracks. I think it's great, and I think it's making some great racing this year for sure.
And some experience as well, youth and experience. Like, say, Mildenhall have got James Shanes, they've also got Jason Edwards, who are getting there in the Premiership now in the Rising Star berth, and currently riding all three leagues, and also obviously not on show in these fixtures we're talking about, but we've got riders like Lee Complin in the National League, Adam Roynan riding for Plymouth still at the moment. But that's good for the young lads to learn off these experienced hands, isn't it? Side by side in the pits in a meaningful meeting.
For sure, that's the way you learn. When I was learning, I was in the pits, like I said, going back then with Poole back in the day, learning from the top boys. That's the only way you learn. Seeing things, how they do things, and asking for advice, watching them, and sometimes getting a 4-2, 5-1 with them, and it gives you a boost. So look, for these kids, it's great. I think it's a great learning curve, and it's a great start for them. And obviously, like you just said, there's a few kids who are doubling up now, and they're getting the job in the Championship, and they're scoring points. Was very positive to see, and it's great. So look, it does. I think it's bright for some British lads, and you've just got to hang in there. It's a tough old game, Speedway. Look, from when I started back when I was 16 in 2009, I think back now and think, how did I do it? I'm 28-year-old, and time flies for sure. But look, it's been tough for myself. It's been for my family. But look, for them kids, the best advice I could just say is just keep doing it. Don't give up, and you'll get there eventually. And just have fun, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's a relatively short career, isn't it? And you've got to enjoy it while you're there, and enjoy your riding, of course, as well. Speedway Grand Prix lineup's been announced. Don't know if you've been keeping an eye on the Grand Prix series. It's kind of more of the same, I would sum it up, really. The Kim Nielsen, really the only rider has been added to the lineup. Of course, Dan Bewley and Robert Lambert qualified in the top 6. Ty Woofener's got a wild card, so we've still got the same 3 Brits in the regular lineup. But obviously, the difference is there that Dan Bewley and Jack Holder have found themselves in the series at short notice this last year. But for Dan Bewley to finish in the top 6 in his first season in the Grand Prix, of course, on the way winning the British Grand Prix as well, which is something that I think every rider's dreamt of and very few have achieved. An absolutely outstanding season for him, and a Workington lad, really showing his mettle on the top stage.
Yeah, phenomenal season for Dan Bewley. I think he just stepped up every year, hasn't he? I think from going to Poland and being in Woofy's corner and learning from Woofy, and being with his pit crew, and then to getting a job at Wroclaw, I think has been massive. And this year was just a last minute thing, and he got it, and he got the gig, and he went for it. And fair play to him. He's to win his first couple GPs, and he showed what he can do on a bike. And he's perfect, isn't he? He's got it in for sure. He's got the talent, and he's shown what he can do. So there's no reason why he can't go all the way. There's no doubt in my eyes he cannot. He's definitely got a world title in him for sure. And to see Jack Holder, a teammate of mine at Sheffield, he's had a great year. And look, it's going into the GPs is something different else, and it's like a Heat 15 consistently in each heat, and then obviously semis and final. And you got to give it to the boys. And yeah, like I said with Jack, I was speaking to him the other day about Torren, because he had a bit of a tough one being at his home track, but you've got to give it to him. They've hung in there, and to qualify is an amazing job. They've got the first year out the way. They know what to expect now. So next year's a bit different for them boys. But look, it's an exciting field again for 2023, and Smarslick's obviously the man to beat at the minute. But there's definitely guys out there who can win that world title for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite as cut and dried as some people are making out, saying, oh, it's a similar lineup, it's going to be the same result. But I think we're going to see people like Robert Lambert, Dan Bewley, just to name a couple, who are going to be turning the screw a little bit, and a few twists and turns to come yet, you think, as we head into next season. Let's round off then by looking at the fixtures for the coming week in British Speedway, and I think we've talked about most of them in one form or another. Oxford versus Leicester in the National Development League playoff semi-final. That's at Cowley, 7:30 the start time on Wednesday, and that will be available. The first NDL match to be shown on BSN, British Speedway Network, and you can head over to the BSN website, watch.britishspeedway.co.uk, to find out the details on watching that. It's going to be $9.99 or $8.99 if you're already a BSN subscriber, but all the details on their website. Thursday, Sheffield versus Wolverhampton. The second leg we've been talking about. Sheffield have a 4-point lead. It's still too close to call, though, and that's going to be on Thursday evening at Overton. 7:30 the start time there, and that will be live on Eurosport 2 and Discovery Plus. On Friday, Redcar versus Poole in the Championship Knockout Cup final. First leg, 7:30 at the Echo Arena. And in the National League at Armadale, it's the Armadale Devils versus the Leicester Cubs. And then on Saturday, it's the Berwick Bullets versus the Mildenhall Fen Tigers in another National League playoff semi-final. And that gets underway at Shieldfield Park at 7 o'clock. And again, that one will also be shown on BSN. Leicester versus Oxford takes place at the same time, and that is going to be at the Paul Chapman and Sons Arena at 7 o'clock. Looking ahead to Sunday, European action for a few of our boys, where it's the European Under-23 Team Championship final that should have been on last weekend but was rained off, so it's on this weekend. Tom Brennan and Drew Kemp set to feature in that, to name but a few. And then no action on Monday, currently scheduled. Tuesday, October the 11th, we'll have Plymouth versus Glasgow in that remaining championship match that still needs to be run, and that is at 7 o'clock at the Coliseum. And then next Wednesday, it's the second leg of the Championship Knockout Cup final between Poole and Redcar at 7:30 at Wimborne Road. And that's the next week in Speedway. We'll be back next Wednesday here on No Breaks, No Fear. And my thanks to our special guest this week, the Sheffield and Leicester captain, Kyle Howarth. Thanks for joining us, Kyle, and good luck with everything that's coming up over the coming weeks for both of your sides.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on, and hope you enjoyed yourself. It's been good to do this. It's been good fun.
No, cheers, Carl. Take care. Good to chat to you, and thanks a lot to you for listening as well. And we'll be back next week, next Wednesday, on the next episode of No Breaks, No Fear. Have a great week.
No Breaks, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Sports Social Podcast Network.